Hey, what's up, garden friends? Hey, typically on Saturdays I do a vlog. I had a whole different video prepared to come out today, and I decided that I wanted to do something more vloggy. But as the title says, I'm gonna get to the main topic first, and then things will get loose and more informal once I'm done with that. Lacewings finally came in the mail. So if you don't know what's going on here, I mean, the title of the video should be fairly obvious because it's probably something about lacewings, right? Well, I have a mealybug issue, and I decided I'm going to go ahead and release a bunch of lacewings. I ordered 10,000 of them off of Amazon, which might be a little bit excessive, but you know, who knows how many survived and whatnot. So here they are. They just showed up, so I am going to be tossing this video together very quickly because the video, it's Saturday and it's noon, so I have a lot of work to do in the next couple hours to get this out. But for starters, this package came with a nice little chart here all about the lacewings. Has a thing about their life cycle. The eggs takes them 5 days to turn into the larvae. The larvae is what's going to do the most work as far as eating those mealybugs go. And then the whole process, they pupate, turn into adults, and hopefully will continue to breed. But the most important part is what it says down here. They feed on soft-bodied insects including aphids, mealybugs, scales, spider mites, thrips, whiteflies, moth eggs, leafhopper, nymphs, feeds on nectar. Okay, so that's what they're going to do. Typically, this would be better to have as a preventative measure, not when you've already had an outbreak, but I've been spraying organically using rubbing alcohol and soaps and peppermint oil, all diluted, of course, over the last couple weeks to help get it a little bit more under control. But hopefully these guys will help do the trick for controlling the problem further, because there's a whole different video about why I don't want to use chemicals in here. There's a pond out here, there are lizards and things like that, and it's an enclosed space. I'm in a grow room, so I don't want to use hard chemicals. These showed up pre-packaged very nicely with these rice holes that they kind of hang out and they eat it and whatnot. And there are a whole bunch of these bags here. The bags have a little hole in the middle that just kind of pops right out there, and I suppose you would tie a string to that. I was hoping these would come with string. I'm gonna have to figure that one out. So basically all I'm going to be doing here is popping these bags open. You can see the end of them kind of sort of has a tip to it right here, and putting a little bit in each one of these bags and kind of dispersing them, hanging them sort of sporadically around the area so that these little guys, the soldier beetles or soldier larvae, that they can crawl up out of those bags and get to work eating the bugs. I'm looking in here trying to see if you can see any of them moving around. You really can't. I had noticed in one of the bags in the other bag, this one right here, there was like a big clump of dead bugs in there, but there's also a bunch of pupa in there, which is good. Those will turn into whiteflies and they'll keep on making more little soldier talking's hard. They'll continue to make more beetles. They'll reproduce and everything. Here we go. So that just pops open. I don't want to open it too much, so I want to leave it kind of like at a tip here where it has a funnel on it. Open up the wax bag. I'm just gonna kind of pour some of them in there. I don't want to make it too thick because I want them to be able to get out. I would probably prefer to have them spread out a little bit more densely. Yeah, that's it. You can see I didn't put too much in there, but I have a lot of these to fill up and hang up. And looking in here, I can see that there is a lot of pupa in there. I'm not seeing any of the actual soldier larvae, but that's all right. They'll be spread around. I'm gonna make it work. Okay, quick update. I just noticed that this actually is perforated and pulls right out. That's good to know. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I've filled up roughly, I'd say about a dozen of these guys. Enough so that I can put about 4 of them in each of my Eureka palms, and then I'll put the rest around kind of sporadically. Down in here, they are tiny. They're really, really small. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get them to show up on camera. I don't have a macro lens on here. They just kind of look like little specks. You can kind of see there's a bunch of white dots in there. Those are the pupa, and that's where the black spots, those are the larvae. Those are what's going to do all of the work. Now, it does say on the card, if you're doing this outside, to go ahead, hang them up in your trees out of direct sunlight, because you know you don't want to cook them. I don't really have to worry about that too much in here. Things are pretty sheltered, even with the grow lights. I don't think it's going to be an issue. I'm just going to go around and start hanging these up. Okay, so you can see the bags placed back there. I put the majority of them where the infestation is the worst. And I am still going to come in here. I don't know if I'm able to do it on camera. I'm still going to come in with the damp sponge and wipe a lot of these guys off. It doesn't take much pressure to kill them. Like, you barely even have to push down on them and they're smushed. So I am still going to go through and do that because it's pretty unrealistic to expect these soldier larvae to go through and eat all of them. Like I said, it's just not very realistic, but just a little bit of pressure kills them. It doesn't take much. So I'm gonna go through and keep wiping things down And that's pretty much it. They're spread out. Now it's just a matter of waiting for them to come out and do their thing. So I made sure to place them at varying levels throughout the palms so that they can kind of spread around and do their thing a little bit better. But I did concentrate them the most where there's like obvious, really bad outbreaks. But yeah, so you can just take a sponge, wrap it around, and do that. And that gets a lot of them. The problem with mealybugs is that not going to focus. Come on, Mal. Okay, whatever. The problem with mealybugs is they really get into all the nooks and crannies, so it's pretty hard to actually remove them all by hand. But still, going through, using a sponge or a cloth, and the nice thing about a palm tree, use the soft side of the sponge, is you can go through and very, very, very gently comb through the foliage, and that helps get a lot of the stuff off the undersides, and you can do the same with the top of the foliage. Much easier to spray. But now that the lacewings are here, can't spray anymore. Even the organic stuff, that's going to affect them. So I have to do hand removal. And that's okay, because I think just a little bit, really, 10 minutes a day, and then letting these guys do their thing, I think that should maybe not solve the problem, but it's going to help a lot. And I do actually think, just to be preventative, I will probably be placing another order for some more, just so I can scatter them around my grow tables. I don't need any of these guys getting covered in mealybugs as well, particularly the things that are a little bit more dormant and kind of resting, like my bromeliads. I don't do a lot with them during the winter time. There's a plumeria up there, and it's just darker up there, so I have a feeling that there will be more issues up there. And yeah, same thing down here. These bonsais, I got those on clearance, so they're actually recovering, because when I got them, they didn't have any leaves on them. But I don't think you guys have seen the tables really, so that's what's going on with all of that. And then I made sure to go ahead and put some in on the other side too, but I tucked them way far into all the different nooks and crannies in the hibiscus tree. I wanted to make sure that they were somewhat sheltered, because I spray partially for the humidity, but also because I want to make sure that there's some water sprayed around here for the lizards every day, even though I don't see them very often. But they've been a little bit more active and sociable. I was actually like holding a couple of them the other day. Oh wait, I think I see one actually. Or it was a drop of water. I'll keep you updated. But so that's it for the lacewings. All natural predators work well. I am going to hold on to these pouches here. They still have a lot of little pupa in there and larvae and stuff like that. So I'm going to go ahead. Maybe I'll peel them open and put them someplace a little bit more dry, maybe up higher in these crowns. Just kind of lay them in there so that those have a chance to hatch out and do their thing. Because there can be a cycle with using the lacewings. One of the great things about the lacewings is that within, 2 months, they're capable of breeding. They go from, this is supposed to be eggs, but it only takes the eggs 5 days to hatch. It's all there on the card. And then they turn into the larvae, and they're larvae for about 2 to 3 weeks, and then they will become adults and breed and make more. It's a whole cycle. It'll keep doing it and getting better and better and better. So even if there weren't a ton that were alive in the package, I think that it's all right, because I see a lot of viable pupa, which will turn into adults, and they'll keep making more. I'm repeating myself, I think. So if that's the case, I'm sorry. But yeah, not going to be immediate results, but I'll keep everybody updated. It's nifty to have critters around that'll do some of the dirty work for you. And I don't think that they're big enough that the lizards will be bugging them. That shouldn't be an issue. I don't see there are anoles, green anoles, Bahama anoles, and brown anoles in here. They might see the little larvae and eat them, but I kind of doubt it, because these are just tiny little black specks. Real quick before I go ahead and sign off with talking about the lacewings and move on to just vlogging and playing catch up with everybody, I did notice here on the card, I'll zoom in on it for you. Release rate, 2 insects per square feet. I did not count them. That would be insanity. But the thing that I noticed that's really important is apply bi-weekly 2 to 4 times, which makes perfect sense if you look at the life cycle there. So had I realized that when I placed my order, I would have done a smaller order, waited a week, done another order, waited, and done that for a month, just because doing it that way ensures that there's always some of the larvae around to eat things up. And so by doing it that way, you end up creating like a little bioactive cycle that is always on the go, always has some noobs popping out to eat some stuff. Okay, I think that about does it for the lacewings. Like I said multiple times, I'll keep everybody updated, but now I just want to play catch up with everybody. It's been a couple weeks since I've done like a vlog, and I had a video prepared for today. It was going to be on the Cryptanthus, and I just randomly decided that I'd rather vlog for a little bit and talk to everybody and say hey, and the lacewings had just shown up in the mail, so I needed to do that. So it could come around and end up screwing me over because I haven't been posting as much lately, and that's just because I got a new computer with a new editing software, and it is a much more advanced software. It's Adobe Premiere Pro, and it's a great software, but it's kind of like learning a new language. So it's just been taking me a while to get things done and get things out. I wasn't even originally going to have a vlog for today. Like I said, I wanted to say hi and fill everybody in what's been going on. It hasn't been much, but there was a bit of a catastrophe with the pond. So last week I got in a new bag of the sturgeon food, this Colombo food. I had been using a different food, different from this one, for a pretty long time. And the vendor, the person who I was getting it from, doubled the price. I wanted $30 for a little can of it. So I was like, I gotta try something different. So I switched over to this stuff, and it worked okay. They seemed to enjoy it. But I got this bag in when the other one ran out. It's a 6mm instead of a 3mm, so it's a larger pellet. That was my mistake. I threw a little bit of it in there Friday night, so a week ago, and just a little, because I just wanted to see if the sturgeon, if they would even eat it. I prefer to feed smaller size food over large size food. Just produces less waste. Big food, they take a bite out of it. Food goes scattered around the place and doesn't always get eaten. So yeah, I usually default to smaller size pellets. These are big pellets. I just put a few in there. Then Saturday morning came out and I could smell something. And anybody who's been keeping fish for a while, you know the smell of a cycling system. This pond is cycled. It has enough biomedia in there for a system almost 3 times its size, because I have those sturgeon in there and they need to be fed so frequently. Need a lot of biological filtration back there in that filter. There is a stench in the air, and I come over to the pond and there were a couple of danios that were popping up dead, and I started to somewhat panic a little bit, because I was like, no, not my sturgeon. Can't have anything happen to my sturgeon or my koi. But I have like a little emergency kit that I have around for my fish that has some ammonia neutralizer. Does not remove ammonia from the tanks, from the water. It just kind of detoxifies it so it doesn't burn their gills as much. It does mess up readings with test kits, which isn't fantastic. But when, when push comes to shove, you gotta do what you gotta do. And then I also always have poly pads. I had 3 of them in my little kit. I've used all of them. These change colors. They help absorb the excess ammonia. So basically what happened here, my theory anyway, is to what happened. Koi and goldfish, they don't digest quite the same way other fish do. They don't digest as efficiently. Food kind of goes in one end and comes out the other. So what I think happened is they ate those big chunks of sturgeon food, digested it somewhat, pooped it out, and it was just too rich. Because sturgeon food has a lot of fat and a lot of protein in it. For some reason, there's this mentality that sturgeon are like algae eaters or suckerfish, which is not the case. Not at all. They need a lot of protein and a lot of fat in their food. Oily fat. It's dirty food. That's why I tripled up on my filtration, so that hopefully something like this wouldn't happen. But it did happen. Everyone's okay. I lost about 3 danios, but none of the goldfish, none of the sturgeon. Everything else is okay. So I managed to, I think, get to it like just in the nick of time. It's already had a small water change, not a big water change, or I should say it has had a big water change, but just one, and then I gave it another small water change, because now this is kind of cycling again. Basically, even though I'm detoxifying the ammonia, it still needs to be processed by the biological filtration. The biological filtration is kind of like the digestive system of an aquatic system. There's bacteria in there that process that ammonia, turn that into nitrites, that gets turned into nitrates, and then phosphates and things happen in nature. That would, ionization and things happen, it would dissipate into the atmosphere. Plants take it up and stuff. But in a system like this, it's enclosed, not so much. You have to manually remove it. You have to dilute it out. And that's never been an issue, because I use this to water the plants. So it gets, roughly a 50% water change every single week, which has been doing the trick and keeping things good, but not with that food. So I cut off that food, no more of that. The sturgeon are just getting the fluval bug bites right now, which they love. And that's just kind of what I got to do. I found a different vendor for the original food, and I ordered a bunch of it, so I won't run out. It's a cleaner food that doesn't break down as quickly. It's made by Tetra, which isn't always the best brand for fish foods, but it has, as far as the ingredients go, it's one of the best ones I can find that's about the right size for their mouth, and the koi don't eat it as much as they do the other sturgeon foods. So that's what's going on there. See a sturgeon? See him? There he goes. They're doing some growing. And yeah, so the water's kind of cloudy. That's actually because when I did the last water change, I dropped it down, I don't know, to about a foot of water, and I got in there. and I scrubbed all the algae and everything off the bottom just because it's rare that the water's that low. So I thought I should go ahead and do a little bit of cleaning. That clouded things up a little bit. And I've gone through a lot of filter pads because they're filling up so quickly. And if you just leave them there full of gunk and debris, that's not helping get things nice and clean. If they get clogged up, like you can see these poly pads, those are exhausted. I need to go ahead and pull those out. They're not doing any good. They just have decaying matter in them. It needs to get out of there. I'll change those out in a little bit. I'm actually out of poly pads, but I have some other filtration stuff I can put in there. So that's the fish. Luckily, it all worked out. They're okay. Just have to make sure in the future, if you know what works, stick with it. So now I'm ordering the other sturgeon food in bulk, so that way I won't run out of it. So yeah, and that's also why the Vandas are kind of dry. I've been having to spray them instead of soak them, because I don't want to soak them in water where the ammonia is super, super high, because that can burn the roots. Sort of a catch-22 though, isn't it? Because I would like for them to be hydrated to keep healthy roots, but I don't want to burn the roots. So it's like, which is worse? I think burnt roots are worse because I can rehydrate them, but if they're burnt, I feel like it's a lot more damage. So they're still getting sprayed and everything, but it's not really to the point that I would like. But this morning's test on the water was showing that the ammonia levels have dropped like drastically. I don't know why I said traumatic. Drastically. The ammonia levels have drastically dropped, and I have added more biological media, the Marine Pure, one of my favorite medias. It's very pricey. Back in the day, I think it was called Cell Pure or Cell Pour, I can't remember, like a long time ago. And that was the best filtration medium I've ever used for biological filtration. Has a ton of surface area. It's pretty easy to clean. It's fantastic stuff. So I have that in there. It's going to have to cycle, but that should happen fairly quickly with the higher levels of ammonia. And so hopefully in the future that won't happen again. There'll be something extra in there, but it's just, even that doesn't matter, because the way it works is that if the fish just produce excess waste out of nowhere, more than the bacteria can handle, then you have a spike. So you can have as much media in your filter as you want to, but it doesn't really matter if out of nowhere there's an excess amount of nutrient that there's not even enough bacteria to handle. But just to be safe, I thought I should add some more in there. Especially since the koi are growing and so are the sturgeon and whatnot. Just seemed like a good idea. Oh, and I have an extra pothos, which you're not gonna be able to see. You can kind of see it. It's over there, it's underneath the nepenthes. I'm going to unpot that, soak its roots, and I'm going to pot it up and put it actually into the system, because pothos are fantastic at pulling out excess nutrients from aquatic systems. Like sometimes so much to the point where you can't keep live plants in your water with them because it makes the water a little bit too void. There's a decent amount of fish in there, so I don't think that that's going to be a problem. So yeah, that's the next project I'm going to do over here for the pond, is to unpot the pothos, get it nice and cleaned up, give it probably a couple days to soak in fresh water and a few rinsings before I introduce it to the water in here, just because I don't really know what's on it. It should be okay though. Oh, you know what I just remembered? Yeah, if you guys watch the vlogs on a regular occasion, you may remember, I'm kind of walking around my mic here, so sorry if the audio gets wonky. Yeah, a few weeks ago I came out here and that entire pothos had fallen into the water and it had been there all night long and everything was fine. So I would say that that means it's safe. This whole time I've been pulling it off that shelf to water it just to be safe. How dumb of me. Okay, so I probably won't be soaking it for a few days. I'll get all the dirt off the roots and put it into a basket if I can find one and work that into there. So that's what's going on with the pond. Otherwise, I think the only other update I have that's like I'm really excited about is that this Ephelandra is blooming. Isn't it pretty? It'll get even prettier. I think I'm going to do an actual video on this Ephelandra. It's one of my favorite ones. The variety, I think it's also called Panama Queen, is a common name for it. And I think, off the top of my head, I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure that the Latin for this one is the Ephelandra Sinclairiana, something like that. It has one of my favorite inflorescences. It has like a nice creamy orange color to it, just coming through a little bit more of a burnt orange on camera on my viewfinder. Then it puts out these purplish pink flowers from there. It's so pretty. Yeah, they're just starting to open up though, so I'll do a video on it when it's fully open, and other Ephelandras that I have, because they're one of my favorites. Otherwise, y'all are pretty much up to date. The lizards have been a little bit more active. Like I said, I've been able to hold them. I don't usually even see them that often, so I was pretty excited about that. I think that they're breeding, so I think that that's probably what's going on there, is that they're making babies, so they've been a little bit more active and outgoing, just a little bit more extroverted. It's the green anoles though, not the Bahama. One of the Bahama anoles in here hates me. When I do see him, he's giving me the side eye like he wants to eat me alive. They can get kind of territorial sometimes. Okay, I gotta sign off though because I still have to somehow edit this video and get it uploaded today, or it may come out on Sunday. If you're not even watching this on the day it comes out, that doesn't even matter. So sorry if it gets out late to everybody, but I hope y'all are doing well. Thank you for your patience while I'm learning how to use the new software and everything. Oh, while I'm looking at these Nepenthes, I've had a lot of people ask me to do videos on them. I don't do anything crazy with my Nepenthes. There are some basics. I don't think enough for me to do a full video on them. So Brad's greenhouse, he's like the guy when it comes to Nepenthes. I'd recommend checking out his channel. Check out Brad's greenhouse. He has tons of information on Nepenthes. So I hope everybody's doing well. It was nice catching up. Hopefully this video is not a complete and total mess. The new software, it's like there's a learning curve, and it's like it drives me a little bit bonkers because I watch a lot of tutorials, but the 2019 version, not the same as the 2018s and 2017. So a lot of the tutorials that are from last year are kind of helpful, but it's more just like, they're like, here, click on this and click on this. I'm like, well, I don't have that. I don't have those things to click on. So it's taking a while, but I'm starting to, you know, practice makes perfect, and I'm enjoying that process. And the sooner I shut up, the less I have to edit. So like I said, hope y'all are doing well. Don't forget to leave the video a thumbs up. Helps the channel a lot, helps the videos a lot. I really appreciate it, so thank you. And subscribe as well, because I upload multiple times a week, so don't forget to hit that notification bell. That way you know when new videos come out. I have my social media linked down below, at Tropical Plant Party on Instagram. That's where I'm the most active, so you can hit me up on there. Or as always, like I say, comment down below, because I love talking to you here too. But follow me, I'll follow you back, that we can look at each other's pictures. All right, everybody, as always and most importantly, keep on growing. Bye-bye.